if you struggle with making friends, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. Sometimes it's a lot harder to keep friends than make friends. If you have no friends, this is like a pro tip number one. Go on dates. Just get on dating apps. Meet somebody you like, you can date them. If you meet somebody you like to hang out with, you can just be their friends and then meet their friend group and then become friends with their friends if they're cool. People who don't want you to be friends with their friends are lame. I don't understand this type of dynamic. Sometimes like I've been around these like friend groups where one of my friends brings me in and it's like, okay, here are my friends that I've known for whatever amount of time, or here are my friends that, you know, we come from the same country. Basically what ends up happening, the person gets jealous when you start making friends with their friends. Bro, you brought me here in the first place. Why are you being mad now and trying to like exclude me from plans? Sometimes people don't realize before they bring you into their friend group that they're gonna get jealous. So they do it anyways, and then they get jealous and then they end up hurting you. Then all of a sudden, you know, you're like, I don't know what happened. If that ever happens to you, there's nothing wrong with you. The person who probably brought you in has insecurities about that. And maybe you can talk to them and just be like, hey, just make them feel special. Obviously, you don't want to make them feel like you just want to make friends with their friends and you don't care for them, okay? So firstly, you have to reassure them. Tell them, hey, like, you are the most important person for me, and you know, I don't know your friends, I don't really care for your friends. If I end up caring for your friends down the line, that's great, but as of right now, I don't care for anybody here. So stop overacting, get it together, okay? And let's just hang out and like have a good time. I'm a pretty avoidant person, so when I see this type of behavior, I typically ignore it, and I basically end up just not hanging out with anybody, and then whatever, like, you know, I'll meet other people. So like I don't really dwell on it. I'm pretty good at like letting it go. But if you don't want to let it go, then it's definitely worth, you know, the fight and like explaining everything. To accuse them of jealousy, that's pretty crazy, especially if somebody like opened their door for you. You have to be very like soft and explain it in a very like nice and loving way that they matter to you the most. Okay, I'm an immigrant and I moved around between different cities and countries, and moving was never an issue for me. Always exciting, and I get bored really easily. So for me, moving to another place means that I'm gonna have fun, everything's gonna be new and fresh. So it always sounds really exciting. When you move with this like positive energy and excitement, it's very easy to attract a lot of people into your life, right? Vibrating high, you're open, you're excited, you're feeling good. To keep those friends around, it's a lot harder than to actually make them. I feel like it takes anywhere from like 6 months to like 2 years to like actually get to know someone. And don't get me wrong, they can still end up being a serial killer or some crazy psychopath. And people can hide behind masks, and you know, they can pretend to be who they're not. So it's definitely never, at least for me, like a for sure I know who you are type thing. You get to know people, sometimes you realize they might not be the right people for you. People take up space in your life to teach you a lesson. They might not be there forever and trying to show you something. Typically how that shows up is when you get triggered around them. If there is like a part of you you don't like, it's gonna trigger you when they do it. So it's actually really good to pay attention to those things, because they will show you the things you don't like about yourself. And then when you know the things you don't like about yourself, you can or you don't have to start working on them. All I want to do is just to make you be aware of what are the tools and like how to like figure things out in your life to like make an educated decision on like what do you want to do. Because if you know that like someone's triggering you and you know that this is like your problem and you decide that maybe you don't want to deal with this right now, it's totally fine. They basically like our life is like a circle, so like we end up having like the same lessons over and over again. I have 4 friends, right? I have 4 friends. If one of those friends disappears from my life, I don't want to talk to them, they don't want to talk to me, whatever it is, typically there's gonna be another friend that shows up in my life to fill the role. It sounds pretty crazy, but if you really think about it, I don't know if this is like a soul family thing. People have like roles in your life, and we humans are so emotional and like we get like extremely attached to each other. And don't get me wrong, like it is great to like feel the attachment. Somebody likes you or somebody cares for you. But at the end of the day, you're not here for them. You're here for you, for like your own self growth. What if you have no friends and you're not attracting anybody into your life? What we're told is like people basically are supposed to cohabit together. We're supposed to be in relationships. That's like what we signed up for and like what we learn most from. Sometimes when you have no friends, right, and nothing's showing up for you, that just maybe means that you're supposed to be alone. So instead of like fighting this urge of like trying to beat people, you should probably stay at home and just chill. It's okay to feel a little depressed. It's okay to feel a little lonely. I think the most important part is like accepting these emotions and basically just letting them rock. I guarantee when you accept your emotions and you're just gonna let them be there for a little bit, eventually like you end up clearing them. The journey you're on is just designated for you. Whoever comes into your life is there to teach you something and maybe uplift you, maybe make you feel bad about something, make you reflect on something. Also, there are instances where you're friends with people end up being fake. So let's say you have a friend group and then all of a sudden you don't get invited to functions or you don't get invited to some gatherings because like somebody doesn't like you in a group, and maybe your friends like choose that person over you. It's typically like one that doesn't like you and is like, "Ugh, I'm not coming if she's coming," or like turns like people against you. So I don't really understand that behavior, because if I don't like somebody, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna be there and be like, "Ugh, oh my God, roll my eyes." Or if we're in a group setting, I couldn't care less. You can sit over there, I'll be right here like with my business and like people that I actually like. If you have fake friends, my advice is to just them. You don't want to be around them, and I guarantee if you actually like get rid of them from your life, it doesn't have to be dramatic. You can just totally stop hanging out with them unless they ask. For the most part, fake friends don't ask questions of like, why aren't you talking to me? Because they are fake, okay? All they do is surface level relationships with everyone around them. That's not very fulfilling. If you're a surface level bitch, I'm gonna teach you how to be a little deeper. I don't blame you for it. If you're aware of it and you recognize that maybe your relationships are lacking depth, I can totally talk to you and help you through it. I'm not perfect. Sometimes my delivery isn't the greatest. However, my intentions are always pure.